Hello, mathematicians. Today we're going to be learning about percents, more specifically how to find the percent of numbers using proportions. To get us started, let's go over what a percent is. A percent is a ratio or rate that compares a number to 100. The word percent means per 100. We use the symbol as shown to show a percent. So a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So it's a part that compares to a whole, where the whole is 100 and the part is a percentage that is out of 100. So we're going to use this proportional relationship to figure out what the percent is of a number. And because we're finding the percent of a number, we're going to take that number and write it as a denominator for a new fraction that we're going to make equivalent to the percent out of 100. So I'm going to show you what that means using this first example. So this first example says, what is 40% of 10? So we know that our percentage is 40, so we're going to replace where it says percent with 40. So here we have 40 out of 100 because percents are out of 100, and we have 40%, so that means we have 40 out of 100. So we want to know what is 40% of 10. That means that 10 is a whole, and because it's a whole, it's going to be our new denominator for the fraction that we're going to make equivalent to 40 over 100. So because it's 40% of 10, we're going to replace the word of here with 10. All right? So now we've set up our proportion here, and we want to find out what 40% of 10 is, and that's the one we're looking for. So in order to do that, we're going to solve for this to figure out what 40% of 10 is. And in order to do that, we're going to look at this proportion and look for the two numbers that are diagonal. So 40 and 10 are diagonal. And that's because there is no diagonal number to 100, so we're going to use 40 and 10. So that means we're going to cross multiply. 40 times 10 is equal to 400. Then, once we've done that, we're going to take the 400 and divide that by the last number here that we have not used, which is 100. So 400 divided by 100 is equal to 4. So that means that 40% of 10 is 4. Let's do our next example. Here we have what is 25% of 64. So we're going to replace the percentage with 25 because we have 25% here. So we have 25 out of 100 because percents are out of 100. And then we want to know what 25% of 64 is, so we're going to replace the denominator with 64. Now that we've set up our proportion, we're going to go ahead and solve. So we are going to multiply the two numbers that are diagonal to each other. So that means 25 times 64. And 25 times 64 is equal to 1,600. Then we're going to take 100, which is the last number we have not used, and we're going to take the 1,600 and divide that by 100. And 1,600 divided by 100 is equal to 16. So that means that 25% of 64 is equal to 16. Let's move on to our next example, which says, what is 12% of 75? So we're going to set up our proportion here, and because we have 12%, we're going to replace the word percent with 12. So here we have 12 out of 100, which makes sense because percentages are out of 100, so we have 12% here. Then we want to figure out what is 12% of 75. So 75 is our total, and we want to figure out what 12% of 75 is. So we're going to replace the denominator with 75. Now we're going to go ahead and solve. So we're going to take our two numbers that are diagonal and multiply, and 12 times 75 is equal to 900. Then we're going to take our last number, which is 100, and we're going to take the 900 and divide that by 100, and that is equal to 9. So that means that 12% of 75 is equal to 9. Here we have our final example, which is what is 4% of 200? So we're going to replace the word percent with 4 because 4% is 4 out of 100. Now we're looking for 4% of 200, so we're going to replace the word of here with 200 because it's out of 200. 200 is our total, and we want to figure out what 4% of the 200 is. So we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. 4 times 200 is equal to 800. Then we're going to divide by 100. So 800 divided by 100 is equal to 8. That means that 4% of 200 is 8.